This movie is about two adults who were kidnapped as children, and nobody, including them, has ever let them talk about it. Margaret Fairchild is a weather lady in Kansas City. Stable job, normal boyfriend, normal life. And then one day on live television, she starts speaking in a language nobody understands and seeing people's entire emotional histories just by looking at them. Everyone in the movie treats this like a superpower unlocking. But what if it's not? What if it's a flashback that never stopped? Because here's the thing about Spielberg. Go back through his whole career. Close Encounters, E.T., Empire of the Sun, War of the Worlds. Every single one of those movies has a kid at the center who got taken somewhere they shouldn't have been and came back different. And every adult around them either doesn't believe them or actively covers it up. Disclosure Day isn't a new idea for him. It's the same wound. He just finally let the kids grow up. Okay, so think about what actually triggers Margaret's full ability. It's not random. It's not just turning on whenever the plot needs her to. The movie keeps bringing her back to places from her childhood, her old news station, the neighborhood she grew up in, and every time she's somewhere familiar from before, the visions get stronger, the language gets clearer. She gets closer to whatever this is. That's not a superhero origin story. That's exposure therapy. That's a trauma therapist's worst-case scenario and best-case outcome happening at the same time. And then there's the aliens themselves. The movie spends so much time building them up as this huge geopolitical threat. Wardex, the government cover-up, the possibility of war. But when they actually show up, they don't attack anyone. They just watch. They watch Margaret have her breakdown on live television. They watch Daniel finally tell the truth. They've been watching this whole time. What if the aliens were never the threat? What if they're just there for the disclosure? Not the government's disclosure, hers. And then there's Daniel. And honestly, his half of this is even sadder if you think about it the right way. Daniel can understand the aliens' math and language, which sounds like the cool, nerdy power. But what does that actually mean for him in practice? It means he's the only one who can hear the truth, and he spends the entire movie running around trying to get someone, anyone, to believe him. Sound familiar? That's every kid in a Spielberg movie who saw something real and got told they were imagining it. And Scanlon, Colin Firth's character, he's not just a government heavy. He's the adult in the room whose entire job is making sure nobody listens to the kid who knows. That's the role. Cover it up, discredit the witness, keep the official story intact. So you've got Margaret holding the feeling and Daniel holding the proof. Like the trauma got split into two people because it was too much for one person to carry alone. And the whole movie is just them slowly finding their way back to each other so the memory can finally be whole again. And then Disclosure Day itself, the broadcast, that's not exposing aliens to the world. That's the first time anyone has ever believed them. And here's the part that gets me. The way the movie ends isn't with some big triumphant alien reveal moment where everyone cheers and the truth changes the world overnight. It's messier than that. People are scared. The broadcast doesn't fix everything instantly. There's still chaos. Which, if you think about it, is exactly what disclosure actually looks like. When someone finally tells the truth about something that happened to them as a kid, the world doesn't just go, oh, okay, here's your closure, problem solved. It gets uncomfortable. People don't know what to do with it. Some people don't believe it, even when it's right in front of them. But Margaret and Daniel don't need the whole world to fully understand. They just need each other to know. They weren't crazy. They weren't making it up. It happened. And now somebody else knows it happened too. That's the disclosure. Not aliens to humanity. It's survivor to survivor. And Spielberg, at 79 years old, just made a movie where the climax is two trauma survivors finally being believed, and he hid it inside a summer blockbuster about UFOs. That's the whole thesis right there, honestly. Now, here's a fun little detail that I think backs this whole thing up even more. Margaret's boyfriend, Jackson, he's been wanting her to move to a bigger market for her career, and she's been the one holding back, resistant to change, comfortable where she is. And then this thing happens to her, and suddenly she's thrown into the biggest, most public moment of her entire life, completely out of her control. No choice in the timing, no choice in how it's revealed. That's not a coincidence. That's the movie quietly telling you sometimes the truth doesn't wait for you to be ready. It picks the moment for you. And look at who she becomes by the end. Not someone who got fixed, someone who got seen. There's a difference. The movie never pretends she's just okay now. She's still gonna be processing this for the rest of her life probably. But she's not alone in it anymore. And that changes everything. Spielberg's been making movies about kids who needed someone to believe them for 50 years. E.T. needed Elliot. The kid in Close Encounters needed his mom to not be scared of him. Margaret and Daniel just needed each other. And honestly, maybe that's the most Spielberg ending of all. Okay, let's keep building this out. Think about Wardex for a second. This isn't just a generic, shadowy government agency. Their entire function is containment. Keep the story locked down, keep the witnesses quiet, keep the official narrative clean. And Hugo Wakefield, Colin Domingo's character, used to work for them. He was inside the machine that did the covering up, and at some point, he couldn't do it anymore. That's such a specific kind of guilt. The person who knew, who was part of the system that buried it, and is now trying to undo the damage from the inside. Every family has a Hugo. The relative who saw something, didn't say anything for years, and is now overcorrecting because the silence finally became too heavy to carry. And then there's Jane, Daniel's girlfriend. She gets caught up in all this through no fault of her own. And at one point, Scanlon tries to use mind control tech on her to turn her against Daniel. Think about what that actually represents. The person closest to the one telling the truth, and the institution's move is to try and turn her against him, make her doubt him, make her think he's the unstable one. That happens in real life constantly. Someone discloses something difficult, and suddenly the people around them are being quietly worked on, told he's exaggerating, told she's not handling it well, told to keep their distance for their own good. Jane not falling for it isn't just a plot beat. It's the movie saying the people who actually love you don't get turned that easily. Now, go back to the opening of the movie for a second. It starts at a wrestling match. Loud, chaotic, full of noise and spectacle, and that's where Daniel chooses to make his exchange, hiding something true inside something incredibly loud. And that's basically the whole movie in miniature. A story about two people's buried childhoods wrapped inside a summer blockbuster about aliens and government conspiracies. The loud thing is the cover for the quiet thing, just like Daniel at the wrestling match. Now let's talk about Margaret's job specifically, because I don't think it's random that she's a meteorologist. Her entire career is built around looking up, watching the sky, telling people what's coming before it arrives. And then it turns out the thing that's coming has been inside her this whole time. There's something almost too perfect about that. Someone whose whole identity is built around predicting and explaining the world above her, and her own unresolved past is the thing she never saw coming. Spielberg loves this kind of irony. In Empire of the Sun, the kid is obsessed with airplanes, fixated on this idea of escape and power in the sky, while he's actually trapped in a prison camp, completely outside his control. Margaret's whole life pointed upward before she even knew why. And then there's the ending itself. The power grid gets cut, and it's the alien device, the thing that's connected to her trauma this entire time, that gets used to bring the power back on so the broadcast can happen. Sit with that for a second. The thing that hurt her as a kid is the same thing that gives her the power to finally be heard as an adult. That's not a coincidence. That's not just a cool sci-fi gadget solving a plot problem. That's the entire movie in one image. The wound becomes the light source. So when people walk out of Disclosure Day talking about the visual effects and the chase sequences and Colin Firth being a great villain, sure, all true. But underneath all of that spectacle, Spielberg made a movie about two people who finally get to stop being told they imagined it. And honestly, at 79 years old, that's a hell of a thing to still be saying. Let's talk about that word for a second, disclosure, because it's doing double duty in this movie, and I don't think that's an accident. In a legal sense, disclosure means revealing information you're required to share, the truth coming out whether you're ready or not. But in a therapy sense, disclosure means something else. It means a survivor choosing to finally say what happened. Two very different kinds of reveal. One is forced, one is chosen. And the movie sits right in between those two meanings the entire time. Daniel's disclosure is the legal kind. He's a whistleblower, he's got stolen files, he's forcing information into the open, whether Wardex likes it or not. That's the institutional version. But Margaret's disclosure is the other kind. Nobody's making her go on air. Nobody hands her a file. Her body just starts telling the truth, whether she gives permission or not. That's the trauma version. The thing that comes out because it can't stay buried anymore, not because anyone decided it was time. And then there's Daniel's job specifically. He's a cybersecurity expert. His entire career, before any of this even starts, is built around finding things that were hidden and bringing them into the light. Think about that for a second. A guy whose childhood involves something being taken from him and covered up, grows up and chooses a profession that's literally about uncovering buried secrets. That's not coincidence. That's not just a convenient plot job for a thriller. That's someone who spent his whole adult life practicing for this one moment without even knowing it. And then there's the aliens again, because I keep coming back to them. Through this whole movie, they're framed as the big mystery, the thing everyone's trying to either expose or hide. But by the end, what are they actually doing? Just standing there, watching the broadcast happen, not interfering, not announcing themselves to the world in some grand reveal. They're witnesses. That's it. And maybe that's the most Spielberg choice in the entire film. After 50 years of alien movies where the creatures are either threats or saviors, here, they're just there to see it happen. To confirm, yeah, that happened. You're not crazy. We were there too. Sometimes that's all disclosure actually means. Not a fix, not an explanation, just someone else in the room saying, I saw it too. So yeah, next time someone tells you a movie is just a summer popcorn flick, maybe ask what it's actually hiding underneath all that noise. Because sometimes the loudest movies are the ones saying the quietest things. If you've seen Disclosure Day, I want to know, did you catch the trauma stuff while you were watching it, or did it hit you after, like it did me? Drop it below. I'm curious if I'm the only one walking out of theaters connecting dots that probably aren't even there. And hey, if you stuck around this long, you clearly like overthinking movies as much as I do. So, you know what to do.